Yeah, kind of complicated, some of them. All right, what about the worksheet you picked up at the door? Um, if you have a retake you want to do and you want to get started on it, you can. Otherwise, I'll try to stop talking in 10 or 12 minutes. But any of these, are you worried about domain? Are you worried about putting one function in the other? These are okay? All right. What about find the range? Actually, that's not on the quiz, so I'm going to skip that one. Graph analysis is also not on the quiz. This is just great extra practice. Some of you need to go back and retake 1.4. All right, this is on the quiz. What about 10 and 11? How would you shift this 3 units left and reflect it over the x-axis? Okay. How would you describe the transformations here? What does a 3 inside do? It's shrinking which way? Horizontally. Horizontally. The x's. Horizontal shrink by 1/3. And then the -4 on the back. Yes, down 4 because it's outside the radical. You get there eventually. Any questions on those two? What about this stuff? Add, subtract, multiply, divide. Which is the only one? Now, those two functions don't have x's in the denominators or radicals. So what's the only one that's going to have a domain restriction? Domains can be all real numbers except for which one? Yeah, the one where you divide. Because the one where you divide, you're going to have 3x squared plus 1 over 2x minus 3. And so what can x not be there? It can be 0. 2x minus 3 cannot equal 0, so that would mean x cannot be 3/2. So if, I don't think you have to do this on the quiz in this notation, but if you did, would be everything up to 3/2 and everything from 3/2 on. But all the rest of these, when you add, subtract, or multiply, the domain is just going to be all real numbers. You want to know which ones really I'm most worried about? Yeah. Subtracting. Because why? Yes, people don't distribute the negative. So when you add, or take f, sorry, and you subtract g, it actually becomes, yes, 3x squared minus 2x, and then this becomes 1 plus 3 is 4. And this would be all real numbers. All right, are we good on that one? Can I? For this one, yes. And honestly, there's not much for domain questions on the quiz, okay? There's one, and one asked for restrictions. Somebody tell me what this looks like. I think it looks like this. Can anybody graph it? Does it look like that? Anybody get it typed in? Is that what it looks like? It's like a downward volcano? Okay. So domain is x. So as I go left to right, it's not negative infinity to infinity because it can't be what? Negative infinity to 0 and then 0 to infinity, okay? But bottom to top, is everybody okay that this range is negative infinity to 0? Because there's values all the way down here, but there's nothing above the x-axis, and it doesn't ever actually touch, even though on your graph, on your calculator, it will probably look like it does touch. If you trace, it doesn't. So it doesn't have any intercepts. And this is not continuous. You can't sketch that without lifting your pencil up. Left end and right end. Okay, this one's left and right. What is y approaching on both sides? Yeah. Okay, as I trace left to right, this one's going down and this one's going, so decreasing. Remember, this is x interval, so it's from the left till I get to 0, and then to the right of the y-axis would be 0 to infinity. Again, that's on section 2.1, 2.1, yes, if you haven't done that. Okay, these are the kind that scare me. Okay. We're going to square both sides. Which is the happy side? The one that the square is going to go away. Yeah, the one where it's everything is under it. So we just get 5x plus 9. But over here, we have to do some work. We have to literally square that. Okay, so 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times... Oh, yeah, I don't know what I wrote there. Sorry, I wrote that wrong. My bad. Square root of 2x. Sorry, okay. So 3 times one of those would be just 3 square roots of 2x. In here would be another 3 square roots of 2x. Square root of 2x times square root of 2x is just 2x. It would be square root of 4x squared, which would be 2x. Okay? And the right-hand side is just 5x plus 9. Okay. Now, because we still have radicals, yes, very good. We have to isolate them. So I'm just going to knock off that 9. Is that all right? So if I combine these, I have 6 square roots of 2x. If I subtract the 2x over here, I have 3x. Now, we can square both sides or we can divide by 6 first. It's up to you.
Let's square both sides.
Okay. If we square both sides, what happens over here? So I have 6 square roots of 2x times 6 square roots of 2x. 36 times 2x, which would be? Yes. And when I squared this side, I got 9x squared. Now, before you do anything crazy, it has a squared, so you need to get it equal to 0 and factor it. Okay, don't divide something because you lose a possible solution. So if I make this 0 equals 9x squared minus 72x, if I factor out what? And? Okay. So I have 0 equals 9x times x minus 8. Can 9 equal 0? No. So this just goes away. But x could equal 0 or x could equal 8. Okay, extraneous solution. If I go back to the beginning and put in a 0, it'll say 3 plus the square root of 0 equals square root of 0 plus 9. Oh, that's all under the radical. Sorry. Is 3 equal to the square root of 9? No. That one's okay. All right. If I check 8, I'd have 3 plus the square root of 16 equals the square root of 4 times 8 plus 9, guys? 49, right? Did I do that right? So this is 3 plus 4 equals 7. Okay, so that one they both checked. What about B? What do you have to do here? Subtract the 4. And then square both sides. Over here I get n squared minus 4n minus another 4n plus 16 equals 5n minus 14 over here because the squared and square root will cancel. I got to get it equal to 0. I could simplify this side first, sure. So if I subtract 5n, and add 14, anybody know how that'll factor? But we need a positive 30. Yes, so n minus 10 and n minus 3, does that work? 3 times 10 is 30, 2 negatives, negative. Okay, so my solutions are 10 or 3. Now I have to check in the very first one up here. So if I put in a 10, it'll say, what's 50 minus 14, guys? Does that work? Square root of 36 is 6 plus 4 is 10. Okay. If I put in a 3, it'll say 3 equals 4 plus, I can tell you right now it's not going to work. If I put a 3 in, because you can't add to a 4, the square root is always positive. So if I put a 3 in here, I get 15 minus 14 is 1. Is 3 equal 4 plus 1? No. So this is extraneous. So 10 is the only solution that checks. Question. All right. What about these matching ones? You want me to go through these, or you want me to be done and you guys can work? Okay. This is the parent over here. What happened to get this one? Definitely reflected, which would mean there's a negative. Yes. But yeah, if I just flipped it, it would do this. And it definitely looked up a little bit of that. So what are you thinking? Which one would move it up? Both A and F would move it up, but which one also reflected? Okay. All right. These aren't labeled, so make sure you're looking at the right one. I don't know if I went down or across or what I did. This one is across? Okay. Can you tell from this parent? Okay. It's over here now, right? And yeah, I'm sorry. I went to the right, I think. Okay, what do you think that one did? I think it shifted to the right, didn't it?
Yes.
To the right, which is C, yep. Okay. Now I'm going down, yes, to the next row.
Yep.
Okay, this one's facing down, okay. So this one flipped, but what do we have left for a choice?
Right.
Well, did the y's change or the x's changed? Yeah, the x-intercepts did not change. But this used to cross like at 18 and now it's down at like 36. So which one? D, because it's upside down, so it's got to have the negative outside. And the 2 would multiply this y-intercept by 2. So it's a vertical stretch and a reflection. All right. This is... Can you tell what this one is? Yeah, it's hard because they're not the same size on my screen, but the y-intercepts didn't change. Or sorry, the x-intercepts, but the y did, right? This was up at like 18 and now it's down lower. So it's a vertical shrink, which would be what? Okay. Now, what about this one? Up? Yep. But it's still right side up, so which is the only one that's up? A. Now, process of elimination will help with this one, but what happened here? It doesn't look like it changed at all, right? Why didn't it change at all? What is this choice B that we have left? Okay, but this means to do what in words? Yes, reflect over y. And this was already what kind of function? An even function with y-axis symmetry? So when I flipped it across the y, nothing changed? Okay, so that's why it looks the same. But the definition or the words that go with that is reflect over y. Anything else somebody's looking at on there that you wanted me to talk about? Okay, I'm really more than willing to do a question or two off this 2.1 bookwork if anybody wants me to do one. Yes, Mackenzie? Okay, 46 is miserable, and part of me just wants to tell you to skip it because it's not really, but, well, I'm going to do it because I assigned it originally. All right, you can't square this with two squares on the same size. This is 2.1 page, somebody help me with the page number? 92? Okay. So, any ideas on how to start? We have to move one of these over here first because we can't do it with. What? I'm going to add this one over there. Is that okay? All right. Then it's a hot mess because we need to square both sides. Okay, which one turns out nice? Yeah, this is 22 minus x. But this is negative 3 plus square root of 3x minus 3 times negative 3 plus square root of 3x minus 3. So negative 3 times negative 3 would be 9. Then I have negative 3 of those messes. Inside here I have another negative 3 of those messes. And what do I get when I take that square root times that square root? Square root of 3x minus 3 times square root of 3x minus 3 is... Okay. Now what? Okay, I can combine these like terms, and I'll have negative 6 square roots of 3x minus 3. What else on that side? 9 minus 3 would be 6, and there's a 3x on that side. Hey, I know I want to cry, and I'm the teacher, but we have to isolate the square root again. So what are we going to do? Not yet. Minus 6 and 3x. So we have a negative 6 square roots of 3x minus 3. And over here we have 16 minus 4x. Is that right, guys? Okay. I really can't divide everything out. Could I at least divide both sides by like a negative 2? Just to make life a little better? What would I have on the right side or left side? And on the right? Be negative 8 and plus 2x. So I'm going to write 2x minus 8 just so it looks a little... Okay, this would have been bad enough if that was the beginning of the problem, right? But instead it's the middle of the problem. Now we have to do what? Okay, I'm going to save a little space. All right, so what happens over here? The 1 out there becomes a 9, and in here it's... Okay, over here, 4x squared minus 16x minus another 16x. Negative 8 times negative 8 is 64. Are we having fun yet? 27x minus 27 equals 4x squared minus 32x's plus 64. I hope we haven't made a mistake. So I have 0 equals 4x squared minus 59x plus 91. It does, I know. What are the, I think 7 goes into 91. Can someone help us? Okay, it's 7 and 13, and they're both going to be minus. Now, I think if we put a 4 and a 1, does that work, guys? 4x squared, this would be 52, negative 52 and negative 7 would make negative 59? Yeah. Okay, so that was miserable. That would have been another 10 minutes of our life. But if we set each one equal to 0, what do we get? 7/4 or 13? Okay, the original question, anyone? Okay, here's the original question. Let's try the 13. What's 22 minus 13? 9. Okay. And what's 3 times 13 is 39 minus 3 is? Okay. So we'd have negative 3 equals 3 minus 6. Does that work? Yes, the 13 works. Okay. The other one is 7/4. I'm going to use calculator. So it says 22 minus 7/4. Math, enter, enter, would be 81/4. So I'd have negative 3 equals square root of 81/4 minus, what am I trying again? 7/4. So 3 times 7/4 minus 3, math, enter, enter, would be 9/4. All right, help me out. What's square root of 81 over square root of 4? 9 over 2 minus, what's square root of 9, square root of 4? 3 over 2, right? And 9 minus 3 is, keep the denominator. But is that true? No, because one's negative and one's positive. So the 7/4 was an extraneous solution. If anyone is still watching this video, more power to you. Because that was miserable, right? Not on the quiz. No, no, the blue sheet is not on the quiz for sure. Is there anybody do another one on here that they want me to go over? 45 was assigned, 47 was assigned, 49 was assigned, and 51 was assigned, I think. Anybody? Okay.